game. The first goal of the game was going to be massive, and thankfully we were able to get that because had we not, sorry, had we not, we would have been in. I mean, we were already, as it turned out, in for the fight of our lives. But it would have been a whole lot different had we gone into that second half 0-0. So I thought we were pretty good, but technically we had some breakdowns. And then, it's NCAA tournament, second round. That's where we were eliminated last year. I think we had a little bit of tightness about us. And so we were a little bit at times, and we spoke about it this morning as a team and how we got to be better on Sunday because it's a real road game. We got a little bit emotional. We came undone, at times, got frustrated at times. And we just got to be better in that way because I think there are a lot of good things in the game. But I think we just got to stay calm, stay steady, and know that they're going to have a good crowd and they're a good team on Sunday, and we got to be ready to deal with adversity in a better way than we did last night.
You mentioned them being a good team. I think it's 3 goals in their last 12 games that they've conceded. I know they had one against West Virginia, but again, like Lipscomb, another really solid defensive team. Do you kind of keep them in that same mindset of like, hey, let's attack early, let's get one, try and open this up? And what kind of challenge does that present you guys?
Yeah, obviously, they played 110 minutes, and that game, their game against West Virginia it was a really entertaining game to watch, very back and forth. And it was like each team kind of attacking with front four or five and defending with a back four or five. And it was just very back and forth, almost basketball-ish, And both teams were fatigued. And so while our game obviously didn't end till literally the final touch of the game by O'Keene, um, we had a lot of kids that didn't have to play 90 minutes, and we our team needs to, we're better, and we've said this all year. We're better when we play with energy. I thought that our energy was good at times on Friday, or sorry, on Thursday. Um, but we had the ball a lot. The game was it was an interesting game. I mean, they were so expansive defensively, but almost it reminded us a lot of our Kansas game, which was just difficult to play against. And so we are best when we make opponents kind of face their own goal, put balls behind them, press, um, and make the game fast. And yesterday was a little bit slow. And so tying back to, Georgetown and their game yesterday, if we can make tomorrow fast, I think or sorry, Sunday fast, I think it suits us, given who we are, and then given the fact that they had to play 110 minutes last night.
What makes Lardner so good for them?
Yeah, she's old, she's a graduate student, right? So she's been doing this for a long time. She is direct, she has good size, but she can dribble with a lot of speed and power in a very north-south kind of way. But then she's also, all of a sudden she gets going north-south, and you think you got to really protect against that. But then she's really good at changing directions and chopping you and shooting off the chop. So you got to be prepared. You got to try and read her intentions, which is very difficult to do. So ideally, we limit the number of times she's able to get faced up on the ball. And then when she does get herself faced up, we got to make sure that we have some cover and a little bit of help around the player defending her.
You mentioned Kate, and I know if someone was just to look at the box score, they'd be like, she only had a couple of saves. It wasn't a busy night for her, but if you watch the game, there's that chance at the end of the first half that she saves well, and then as you mentioned, those last few seconds of the game, just for her poise as a freshman and to come in and be back in that position, and when you don't have a lot to do, to be ready, how impressive was that?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's the hardest thing to do as a goalkeeper when you're not having to make save after save. And then all of a sudden, right, you're called upon. And it was at the very end of each half that she was called upon. And so obviously proud of her. But then in some ways, the coolest part about it is, in each of those moments. And then there were a couple of them. They had a shot midway through the second half that out of bounds, side netting. And she's turning around and she's kind of getting into her teammates a little bit, right? And that kind of shows a little bit of gumption, maturity, confidence, right? And that's what you need out of a goalkeeper. That's just not back there just worried about her own world. She's holding the players in front of her to a high standard. So, and then that save at the end of the first half, that was obviously that was a scary moment, and her positioning was great. And then obviously she didn't hold it immediately, but was able to, smother it on a second touch pretty comfortably. So proud of her, and I think she continues to have good confidence.
When you're doing a scout on a Georgetown, do you look at the entirety of the schedule? Do you look at like Virginia because that's a common opponent? Do you look at their losses? Why did they lose? Just kind of what goes into how you guys do a scout for an NCAA opponent.
Yeah, great question. We look at everything. I mean, I left Steve Swanson a message about 45 minutes ago, a voicemail message, asking to get on the phone with him. I've got messages into other. We can't. And I don't know how other sports work. I have no idea how other sports work, but you can't give scouting reports in conference. So we can't speak with any of the Big East teams. They are not allowed to speak with us on Georgetown. And is that true in other sports? Do you know?
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
don't know.
That's
I know
interesting.
basketball mentioned to me that they don't do it, so it might be
Okay.
something they're picking up.
Okay. And maybe teams just don't, coaches don't talk to each other. In that way in other sports. I don't know, unless they're friends, I don't know. And so that's why we are, in some ways having to go back that far. Yet at the same time, when you have, people like and teams like Virginia and Steve Swanson and, um, I'm actually trying to reach out to the St. Mary's coach. St. Mary's beat them, and there's actually it's a 2-for-1 call because she's got a kid in the portal I want to ask about, um, I want to get her thoughts on Georgetown, and then you look at everything, right? How are they giving away chances? How are they giving away goals? Right? How do they do in second games of the weekend? Right? There's nothing that has shown us what do they do after playing 110 minutes because they have not played in their conference semifinal. They won in regulation. So um, this is uncharted territory, right, for them. Um, so you try and get any little piece of information or knowledge, whatever the case may be, to help yourself.
Good.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate
Great.
it.
I
All right.
appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys. All
Good
right.
luck on Sunday.